Hello everyone and happy Saturday. We're back here with another Christmas card because we're in full Christmas mode. I'd like to thank everyone for joining me today and look at this beautiful card that we're going to make today. I had so much fun creating this one and I thought it turned out really pretty. And if you notice, you might notice some of the items that I use, but I've got the whole stack here. I use the framed florets. This is the brand new set that was just released. I use this die set. I use the bundle, the leaves of holly and the holly berry dies. This is a bundle, so if you bundle them together, you save 10% over purchasing them individually. Also, for my inside sentiment, I used Hope and Peace. So those are all the products that I used as far as stamps and dies go. And let's just go ahead and get started and get this card made. I have pre-cut some of my items. You're going to need for the base of this card, you're going to need a piece, and if you notice I'm doing it opposite colors. I decided to go with shaded spruce instead of garden green on this one, and when you put this next to the garden green, it almost makes it look like old olive, but it's not. This is garden green, but I'm changing it up a little bit. So we have this piece that is 8.5 by 5.5, and we're going to score it at 4 1/4, and lay that right there. And what I did is I've got my pieces already folded and scored and everything. We're going to need a piece of real red cardstock. Now this piece is cut a little bit different, a little smaller than our normal mats. This one is 3 3/4 by 5, and we're going to run it through the die machine. And we're going to use our framed florets, but I'm going to use that, not this circle, but we're going to use these two. We're going to use these two dies, and I'm going to lay that back over there. So what we're going to do with this piece is we're going to center this one with the hearts. This one doesn't cut out, it cuts in, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. Make sure when you put this on here, because you can't see it from this side, make sure your hearts are in the right direction. And you might say, well, how did you know to bring that up? Well, it's very simple. I cut my first piece upside down and I had to redo it. So that's why it's always good to have someone to show you how to use the dies or whatever. But we're going to center this piece on top of this piece and run it through your die machine. And when you do, you're going to have this piece. Isn't that gorgeous? And look how pretty that's going to look layered on that shaded spruce. Isn't that pretty? So then we're going to take this piece and we're going to run it through our die machine with our gold foil. Now for the sake of the video, I have a lot of this already cut, so this is what we get when we do that. Now you're also going to get a circle, but I kept my circle, my oval, because I'm going to use that on another project. Alright, once you get that done, we're going to take the Boughs of Holly paper, and this paper is absolutely stunning. And what I did for this card, if you noticed on this one, it was a piece of the designer series paper on the inside, and I basically just took a piece of the, cut it off. It was a piece of this, and I think I had a scrap, and I just took my die and put over top of it this particular die right here, and I cut out that flower, and I used the oval out of that. And again, I have this little frame piece that was left over from it that I can use on another card. So you can see there's that, there's my gold, and see, I could use this and make another card like that, which I think I may. So I've got all my little bits and pieces over here. Alright, so once we where was I at? Oh, it's under here. Once you do that, then you decide how you want your centerpiece, what you want it to be. So then you take out, I cut out a center of this. You can see I just cut out a square out of the middle of that and ran it through my die, ran it through my Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine, and I got this piece. I wanted to change this one up a little bit, so I thought that would be so pretty on there. And I'm going to show you, if you noticed how this is all raised, I'm going to show you how I got that effect. I thought it was, I just thought it turned out absolutely gorgeous. So now that we're done with that part of the card, I'm going to show you how to pop this all up. So what I use, now I could take mini dimensionals, the little mini stamp, the mini Stampin' Dimensionals, and I could very easily go around this, but I found out that it's just as easy to use our foam adhesive strips, and I love these. I use them quite often, and it looks like you don't get much for your money, but believe me, these go a long way. So I'm going to pull one off, and then just pull off just like that. And I'm going to turn this over, and I like it because these kind of adhere really well, and they mold to the piece. So these are great for shaker cards as well. And I did promise y'all a shaker card, so be on the lookout, that's coming. I'm going to put this around like this and like that, and I'm just going to keep working all the way around just like this, making sure that I'm getting that adhesive right over where I need it to be. And look, that piece is just about perfect all the way around. I think we don't even need to add another piece to it. So now we have this ready to adhere onto our cardstock. So that's going to be the next thing I do. So what I'm going to do is release the adhesive, the backer off of this. Just like that. Now this stuff is sticky, so I don't want any of this to show, and that looks like that's wanting to stick out, so I'm just going to move it over just a hair, and that's better. Let's get my trash in the trash can. Now I'm going to look at this and work just on this gold piece, and if you look, when you cut this, you have almost a guideline. I don't know you'll be able to see it on the camera, but I can see I have a guideline right around those hearts. I'm going to use that to help me get this down exactly where I need it. So I'm going to start here at the bottom, and I'm going to go around. I'm not going to push this down yet. I just want to lay it in and make sure that that's exactly where I want it, and that looks really good. So once I know that it's where I want it, I'm going to go ahead and press it down. Now this piece we're going to take and put Stampin' Dimensionals on the back of it. So I am going to be generous because I don't want it to come loose. So I'm going to put probably about 5 or 6 of these on here, and there's 4. I think 5 would be plenty. Okay, and let's go ahead and get our backers off of these. Now I found if I used my reverse tweezers, and I have a smaller pair than the ones that come with the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Now I love those when I am embossing because they keep my fingers from getting burned. But now we're just going to very strategically sit this in just like that, and you see why I wanted to use the tweezers. It helps me get that, let's see, not quite. This helps me kind of guide this in just like that. Isn't that pretty? I love the way this looks. I don't like the way this is going down in there right there. Maybe I needed a Stampin' Dimensional right there on the edge. Let's tuck one under. We'll do a little surgery here and insert another Stampin' Dimensional right about here. I'm just going to lay that in there like that. Yeah, that's much better. That keeps it from looking like it doesn't have support there. That's why I said do not skimp with your Stampin' Dimension. Look at that. How pretty is that already? And then when we lay it on top of this, oh my word, that is stunning, isn't it? Are y'all loving this? The next thing that we need to do is decide what leaves we're going to use. Now, I'm not going to need this any longer, so I'm going to go ahead and stick this back where it belongs. And let's get our leaves out. We're going to need to do some die cutting on some leaves. So I am going to go ahead and grab out the smaller leaf off of here. And I also want to die cut the berries, but when I did my first card I made 2 sets because I wasn't sure. And what you do is your lighter color of red, you want to cut your solid piece, and that's what I did here. So my solid piece is this piece here, and then on the other side I cut this piece in a darker shade of red. And when it gives you that detail, and look how pretty that is, it gives you that light and dark look, and then you just glue this piece on top of this piece and you get this. I hope that makes sense to everybody. I'm going to put this back. Oh, it goes here. I do want to grab both of the smaller leaves. I'm using the smaller ones because I don't have a lot of space here, and these leaves are quite big. I also want this label die, so I'm going to take all of that out, and let's grab some scraps and go ahead. Now when you're cutting these leaves, you want your solid piece to be darker, and you want your detailed piece, this is your detail piece, you want it to be lighter so that it gives you that effect. You see what I mean? See how it's much darker back there than it is on top? So I'm going to do that again with this one, but I'm going to use a different color, and I've got a piece inside this one that I want to pop out. It was just a little crumb that was left from when I made the other one. I saw it and I was like, I need to get that out. That's my little persnickety way. Let me grab some cardstock that we're going to use to cut this with, and I'll be right back. Alright, I went ahead and grabbed a piece of a scrap of the shaded spruce, which is the color on the card, but I also grabbed a piece of the old olive, and I think that would be pretty for our detail. So we're going to go ahead and die cut these. And I think I'm just going to grab my small Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine because I don't need the big one for these small pieces. So, and this one takes up such a small footprint on your desk in comparison to the big one. So let me zoom y'all out just a little bit, and you can see there how tiny this one is, but it's really a little workhorse. I do love it when I'm making little pieces like this because I can load them in. And then that shifted on me. So I don't know if y'all saw my flyer. I did post it on my blog, and I posted it on Facebook as well. I mean, yeah, our Facebook group. And Stampin' Up is having a wonderful sale. They have released, and I haven't put that up yet, the things that are going away in our current mini catalog, because y'all know it's almost that time. Come January, we'll have a brand new mini catalog to look at, so I can't wait for everyone to see it. I have already been able to get a sneak peek, but being a demonstrator, that's another perk of being a demonstrator, is you get to see everything ahead of time, and you get to pre-order. So you get a chance to have the new products before the general public does. That's a perk of being a demonstrator, so I love it. I love that I can see the products early and choose some things that I want to show y'all, and actually get them and demo them, and that makes it really nice because then you get to see the products in action. Now this is what we're going to do. We're going to layer this over top of that. Isn't that gorgeous? Love that. But we need 2 of these, so I'm going to go ahead and cut another set. So I'm going to do that off camera and we'll be right back. Alright, we're back and I got my pieces cut, so I'm going to go ahead and when you take these pieces out, you want to be kind of careful. Grab them and pull them like that and just make sure that you wiggle just a little bit so you don't tear your pieces. These always come out really easy for me. The Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine does an awesome job of die cutting, so I love it. Alright, I'm going to take my glue and put glue right on the back of this, and I'm going to use my one with the fine tip on it because I just want a tiny amount of glue, just enough to stick this to the other piece, but not an oozing amount. And when you're dealing with these small pieces, sometimes it's difficult if you don't use a fine tip bottle to get your glue under there exactly where you need it. So let's see how I did. Okay, there's a little glue showing, but this will dry clear. So I checked the back. I'm not seeing any of the old olive from the back. So that lets me know I got everything lined up. And there is our first leaf. Now let's do the same thing with this one. We're just going to dab a little bit along the edges. And over here we have a little bit larger space to put glue on. And then down that middle piece. Then we're going to take it and turn it over, line it up. Turn it over, looks pretty good. And we're going to lay that over there and let it dry as well. So while that is drying, I'm going to go ahead and adhere my card base, my mat, which is this piece, to my green piece. Now I'm going to put glue in all 4 corners and across the top and in the middle. But I'm being careful to try not to get any glue around where the heart shapes are cut out. Alright, now we can go ahead and sit this down and eyeball center. Nothing like a good eyeball center, right? So we got that on there. That's looking really pretty. Now we can bring our leaves in. And our leaves are going to go something like that. And I want them to cross right there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set them, I want them to go more, let's see, this way. Yeah, I want them to go like this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to adhere them together with glue, just like that. So I'm going to go ahead and glue these together right across like that. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to get those stems to kind of hide themselves within the leaves. So I'm going to take some liquid glue and I'm going to run liquid glue on this one right along here like that. Then I can bring this back up, lay that over top of it, and I'm going to lay this over on my silicone craft sheet and let that dry. I put it on that because that way it won't stick. And the other thing that I want to adhere to this, let's bring this back over. The other thing that I want to adhere are these holly berries that I did. And I want those to kind of pop up, and we're going to put those right about like that. And I think I'm going to put a dimensional right about there, just to give that a little bit of, just to give it dimension and help it to look like it's the real thing. So we'll do that. Now our holly leaves are ready. You can see how quick the glue sets up. So they're actually ready to go onto our card. So we can take this now and set it right about like that. And you see when you bring it down, and I like to bring it down enough because I don't want to cover up the pretty that I have here. So what I'm going to do is decide where I need dimensionals and where I need glue. I definitely need a couple dimensionals under here, but we're going to need to do doubles. Let me zoom y'all in just a little bit. Something like that. And I'm going to grab a dimensional, and I know we're going to need a couple popped up underneath here. So I'm going to put one down, peel the backer off, and then grab another one and lay it directly on top. And when I lay it directly on top, I try my best to line up my points, but if you don't get it just right, don't worry about it. So now that's going to give us that extra dimension that we need. I am going to need to push that up in there. If it hangs over a little bit, you can trim it with your paper snips. Sometimes you can just take your pick tool and push that, and it will kind of wedge it back up under there a little bit. See, now you don't see it. That's what I was wanting. I did not want to see that right there. I think I need another one right here. And again, I think it's going to be that same thing. We're going to need to put two under there. And if you can't put it under it, you can put it over it like that. That's still going to give you that same dimension. And this one I'm still not pleased with. Let me get my snips. I'm going to take my paper snips and I'm going to go in and just cut a little bit of that off. See, it only took a little bit to keep it from showing. Now we need to decide where we need glue. So I want some glue to run right in the center of these leaves. So I'm going to let's move this out of our way so you can see what I'm doing. I'm just going to take some liquid glue and run right along here and right up the middle of that leaf. Now we're ready to go ahead and adhere this, and you can sit and figure this out for your piece, where you need your glue, where you need your dimensionals, and that sort of thing. Looks like it still needs another dimensional under there. So I am going to use my take your pick tool. And I am going to set one right up under the middle right there. And then adhere that all down to my card. Isn't that gorgeous? So pretty. But we still have that little crowning touch. We got two more things we need to do to the front. We're going to tie a bow like this, and we're going to do the sentiment and put it up here, and we're going to do some embossing with that. For my ribbon, I chose this, it is the satin edge ribbon. It is absolutely gorgeous. Look how gorgeous that is. It is gold and vanilla, and it's just luscious. So I'm going to do my little finger bow, and this is the way I do that. I lay this across my hand like this, bring it under my index finger, around my middle finger, over my index finger, back around. Then I'm going to pull this out to about here, and I'm going to grab my ribbon scissors, and I'm going to cut longer than I need. And then what I'm going to do is bring this piece in, and right between my fingers right there, I'm going to feed that through, grab it, bring it over, and we're going to pull it back under this loop that you just formed when you went under. So it can be a little tedious, but practice really does help with making these bows. So, you know, when you're sitting watching TV, take and cut yourself off a good little piece of ribbon, and then sit there and play with it. You'll be surprised how good you can get at making these bows. And they turn out, you just want to work that back and forth to tighten everything down, and then turn it over, slide it off your fingers, and look what you've got. Is that not the cutest little bow? So I'm going to take my scissors, and I want to cut these tails a little short, like that. And then we are going to take this bow and adhere it with a glue dot, because y'all know I love my glue dots when it comes to putting my bows on. They work the best. So I'm going to take my glue dots and I'm going to grab one right here, right on the back of that bow. Maybe I'll grab two because that just didn't feel like it was quite sticky enough to hold it. There we go. That ought to do it. And then we're going to stick this bow down right about here. I'm going to bring my loops together and pull my tails down. And there is our beautiful little double loop bow. Now with that technique, you can do a single loop bow. You just don't wrap it twice, you wrap it once. And you can make a cute little single loop bow. But I wanted this one just to have that little extra so I wanted it to be a double bow. So I'm just cleaning up my glue dots. Now we can go ahead and let's grab a piece of green, and I have this little scrap of green which is going to work perfect. We're going to do some more heat embossing, so we're going to need our embossing buddy. I'm prepping my piece by just tapping this all over where I'm going to stamp. That way it keeps my embossing powder from sticking places I don't want it to. Then I'm going to grab my VersaFine ink and my Leaves of Holly stamp set. And you've got some really cute ones here. Christmas Wishes, Season's Greetings. I don't like Season's Greetings. I prefer something that says Christmas. So I'm going to use Christmas Wishes. And I'm going to lay this down. I want to try to get it nice and straight. And grab a stamp block. I'm going to go ahead and pick that up. And then I'm going to ink this up. Sorry. I'm going to ink this up using my Versamark ink. Now this is a clear ink that is very sticky. And what it does, it allows the embossing powder to stick to it. I am going to set it down right here in the middle of where I did my powdering. Oh, look at that. That was a beautiful image because you can see it on camera. That is absolutely outstanding. So we're going to grab our embossing powder, and of course I'm going to use gold because I'm playing with gold on this card. And let's go ahead and spoon our embossing powder over top of our image. And I like to do mine twice, and then I tap it off really good. I flip it and flick it and flick it to make sure that I've gotten off any excess. And look at that. Now we're going to do the magic with the heat tool, and we're going to set that embossing powder. Right now, if you touch that embossing powder, it will move. It will flake off. But once you melt it to your paper, you will not have that problem. I'm going to bring out the reverse tweezers. This comes in the essential pack for the embossing package that they have in the mini catalog. I'm hoping they're going to bring that back as a regular item, but I don't know yet. I'm going to bring over my heat tool, and I'm going to go ahead and heat this up because I like to get it hot before I bring it to my paper. So it can be a little bit loud. I'm going to hold it down, hoping that it doesn't. I'm going to actually let it blow on my feet. It's cold here today. We had a cold rain all day yesterday. I mean, it was really, really bad. But today the sun's shining, but it is still cold. So I'm going to bring this now to my piece, and I'm just going in small circles. And I'm going to go up underneath it too. And see, it's already starting. There we go. There goes the magic. I love it. I love it. I love it. Alright, so that is done. And I'm going to let that sit just for a minute, and I'm going to cut across this because I want to run this through my mini embossing machine. So I'm just going to take a larger pair of scissors, and I'm just going to cut that off, and this can go back in my scrap bin. And now I'm going to take this label die and bring it over, and I'm going to set it. Make sure everything got set on that. I think I can heat it just a little bit more on that one side. It doesn't feel like it's quite there. Alright, I'm going to take my die and center it right over top of where I want this to cut. And I want it to cut about like that. So once I get it in position, I'm going to take my little post-it flags that I love to use. Let's get it back in place. Just about like that, and then I'm going to put that over. And I'm going to do one on both ends because I want to make sure that that stays where I have it. So our little mini Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine. Let me get my pen back in my glue before I have a mess. Let me zoom y'all back out so you can see. There we go. So I'll bring my cut plates in, my base and my 2 cut plates, and we'll lay this on here. And let's crank it through. I don't know if y'all just heard the siren. Sometimes it picks it up on the camera and sometimes it doesn't. But I live within a stone's throw of the fire department. So I hear that a lot during the day and at night. You never know when the fire department's going to take off and go. And I'm just very blessed that they're that close to my house because I get a cut on my homeowner's insurance because of that, because we're so close to the fire department. So that's a good thing. And the fact that I have smoke detectors and alarm system, that also helps with your cost of your insurance. All right, let's bring this back over, and I want this to sit. I might do this one a little bit different and bring it up here. I don't know, I really like it hanging off of this. Okay, I think did I use double? No, I just used single. Okay, let's go ahead and put dimensionals. Look at this again and see where I need them. I'm going to put one on each end. Right here and right here. And let's take the backers off. And then let's see how this is. We're going to need one here in the middle. I'm just trying to make sure that I'm getting my dimensionals everywhere that they need to be. And then we're just going to let that sit right on the top of that frame. Like that. Nope, we're going to need more. Okay, I was thinking I needed doubles on this. I don't know why, but something was telling me that I did doubles, but yeah, maybe I did. It looks thicker than just one. And trying to match those up, but if you don't, it's okay, as long as you're not seeing them. Let me zoom y'all back in a little bit. Alright, let's try this now. This should work perfectly. And it does. And there is the front of our card. Is that not beautiful? I'm not sure which one I like the best. What do you think? I think they're both equally gorgeous, but I don't know. I like them both. Let's go ahead and do our inside, because we're going to do some more heat embossing on the inside. Now for my inside, I chose a real red, and this is 4 by 5 1/4, and I chose a very vanilla. that is 3 3/4 by 5. We're going to emboss on the very vanilla. And I'm going to do gold again because it's so pretty. And I think it just kind of brings the outside of the card to the inside, and I like that. So I'm going to go ahead and ink up, and this comes from the stamp set Hope and Peace, this one right here, and I'm using the Peace on Earth, Goodwill I want to say toward all because I think that's the way the Bible says it, but to all, same thing. I am going to ink up and then I'm going to go up just a little bit toward the top because I want to leave room for signing, and if I wanted to write a little note or something I'd have room for it. So I'm going to put that down right there. Oh, I didn't prep my paper. Too late now, huh? Unless we turned it over. Let's see how we did. You know what? We're going to turn it over. Actually, I'm going to turn this back over, and I'm going to powder this just so it doesn't stick to my surface. I didn't want it to stick to my work surface. Now we're going to powder. You might not think that this makes a difference, but I'm telling you, it makes such a difference. It really, really does. So now we can ink and stamp. And I'm letting it sit there for a minute because I really want a good amount of that ink to show up on that paper, so that my sentiment was really, and I know you can't see it because it is, oh, there you go. I think you can catch it right about there. But when we put our gold embossing powder over it, it is going to pop. So let's grab our embossing powder one more time. And I'm going to bring the whole piece over. And we're going to sprinkle a good amount of embossing powder over that. Now this is where I flick. Oh, it looks so pretty. That looks gorgeous. And seal up that embossing powder. I keep mine in those containers like I've told you before. I do a lot of embossing because of the amount of videos that I put up, not to mention what I do for my own personal use. So I use a lot of embossing powder, so I buy several of the packs and I just dump all the light colors into their container, and that way I have enough of embossing powder and I'm not having to take the little jar out. But when I was only doing this for myself, I kept mine in the jar. So let's bring our heat tool back over, and it's already warm, so I don't think we have to heat it up. So let's just go ahead and start embossing. That looks really, really good. I love the way that turned out. Even though it's on vanilla, it still stands out beautifully. And I don't know if y'all are seeing the beautiful glimmer of that embossing powder, but it is absolutely stunning. Now I like to take a microfiber cloth, and I like to just go over. I didn't do that on my green piece, and I should have. I like to just go over and make sure that I've gotten all of the powder tool, the powder that came out of our powder tool off of my piece. And once I do that, then we are ready to go ahead and put it onto this piece. So I think I'm going to use my Stampin' Seal. I don't know. I'm going liquid glue. Y'all know I love my liquid glue. And so you can see this on the back. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, there it goes. You can see it, but it's powdered, so it's no longer sticky. So I'm going to use glue. And then we are going to set this down right on top of that red, being mindful of our borders. Got a little fiber right there that's bugging me. Snip it away. Now we're ready to put this whole piece into our card. And look how gorgeous that's going to look. I love this. I love, love, love this. Just another way where you can combine different sets together to come up with something beautiful that you might not have thought about. And that's what I had in mind when I designed this card. I wanted it to be something that you had not maybe thought of doing. And that's combining this new set of dies, and I love these dies. They are so pretty. And I'm going to press that in really good. And there is our card. So, so pretty. I'm going to bring both of them up so you can see both of them. I think my bow looks better on this one, but you know what? It's okay. It is all right. We'll just play with this one a little bit and see if we can get it to cooperate. There, that's not bad. So there's our two cards that we made. Aren't they gorgeous? So I hope you enjoyed the process of watching me make these as much as I enjoyed doing them. Absolutely a beautiful card to give to anybody during the Christmas season. God bless and keep you. And as I always say in closing, let everything that you do and say bring glory to our Father in heaven. He is worthy. He's worthy because he is perfect and he is all. He is the I am. So y'all take care. Have a wonderful and blessed day. And just as a reminder, if you like any of the products that you saw me use, everything will be listed in the description below this video. There will be a link there for you to click on and go to my blog. Once you get to my blog, you will see the picture of the cards. You will see a little description of what I had to say about it. And then you will also see a PDF tutorial. It'll say click here for PDF tutorial. Click there and you will get a printout with the pictures and the instructions, the measurements, everything, and all the products and the product numbers that I use. So that way it makes it easy if you want to order something. So on that note, I'm going to close for the day. I love you guys so much, and until next time, take care. Bye-bye.